Well, I almost forgot to say, I'm going on an adventure! What's up, team? I'm starting my adventure today. I just drove over Snoqualmie Pass and it was terrible, but we're all right. So this is just going to be a little pseudo survival trip. This is not a nut flexing competition. I don't care if you've done it or if you've done it better. I just want to have a little fun. So keep that stuff to yourself. Don't do what I'm going to do unless it's like real tight. So I'm taking mostly stuff that was around in from 1820 to like 1880. I'm taking a little more modern stuff than I originally planned just because like it's really bad weather and I'm not even in the mountains yet. So this should last about 32 hours. I'm going to make a nice shelter out of a mylar sheet and some plastic. I'm bringing my flintlock, my 1873 revolver, a mini crossbow in case I see some squirrels or rabbits or something, hopefully. 6 ounces of moose meat, 8 pieces of hardtack that I made last night, and then some accoutrement. So I'll start this again when I get up there. Bye! Alright guys, well I made it. It was about a 4.5 hour drive, an hour and a half longer than I thought it would be, but the traffic was really slow because there was a lot of snow. So we're here now. Now I gotta go make a camp. I need to make camp by 2 o'clock. If it doesn't work by 2, I need to get out of here because it's gonna get poopy. So let's go do it. I'll record it intermittently through this trip. I'll try to cover everything I'm doing. Again, I'm not a pro, so don't copy me unless it's really tight. Bye! Well, my original plan was to drive up the 9 miles on this logging road to the hunting site where we usually go, but whew, it's just too dangerous. I like authenticity a lot, but I don't want to die for it. So I'm about 3 miles up the logging road that shall not be named. And what I'm looking for is a place that's going to have a little bit of dry ground. Since I don't have a river anymore, I need to find a place with an adequate amount of snow I can melt, but snow's only like 10% water, 20%, the rest is air. So that's going to take a lot of melting. I'll probably just stick bottles of snow in my clothes and let my body heat melt it. So look for a place with a lot of snow. Look for a place that doesn't have too many trees because trees do get knocked down out here a lot, as you can see. So some wind protection, but not so much that I'm going to get clobbered. Because if a tree falls on me in the forest, you won't hear me scream because I'll be dead. Let's see, a place that has a little shelter from the wind, and most importantly, just lots of easily accessible firewood around because it's going to get a wee bit nippy out here. I think I found the place. I got these 2 trees here, a nice long log there that I can use my axe on to shorten into a little bit of roofing material. There's a lot of deadfall over there. There's a lot of deadfall over there that's not going to be too wet and awesome. Last but not least, I've got this deadfall right here that I can prop up my plastic with and the sheet. So let's get to work. Okay. Well, what I'm trying to do is basically kind of use my idea of wasted energy on lifting and apply that to here. So instead of thinking, what's the laziest way I can do something, I'm thinking, what's the way I can get the biggest benefit with the least amount of energy spent? Because out here, I know I'm only out here for a day, but it's a calorie game, and I don't want to waste a bunch of calories building a big-ass shelter if I could make a simple one and spend the rest of the day getting firewood. So what I'm trying to do is I'm making sort of a teepee on the side, and what I'm going to do is line the line of this plastic with 2 mylar sheets, so like space foil. I'm going to have a fire either over here or over here depending on the wind, and what that's going to do is the heat from the fire is going to come through the plastic, bounce off the mylar sheet, and not be able to escape back out. So I'm going to be trapping heat basically, kind of like a greenhouse, or capturing radiation. So it should get up to about, I'm hoping, 55 degrees in the tent. I haven't done this before. It's not my idea, of course, but it is a great idea. So Let's see how it goes. Let's keep working at it. Well, we just had our first casualty of the trip, probably the most important piece of gear, my Korean selfie stick. So now I need to find something else to prop the camera up with, but hey man, we're cooming. Well, the tent's up. I didn't really take into account how thin the space blanket is, so it was put a lot of holes in it. So I brought two just in case, but I'm probably gonna need that second one. So now it's time to start the fire. Everything around here is super wet, covered in snow, but this tree does have a lot of sap on it and it's dry. So that's going to be an easy fire starter. I just want to start the fire and make sure that this tent is retaining some heat. So let's do it. 12:50 p.m. Okay, well the fire's going. As you can see, everything is wet, so it's going to be smoking a lot. That's all right. I just want to see if it builds up any heat in the tent before I proceed further, because if that doesn't happen by 2, I got to get out of here. It's getting bad already. So now I'm going to chop down some evergreen branches and try to make a little soft bed for myself. I'm not going to go crazy with it. I'll just take what I need. I don't need to chop down, you know, a king-size mattress worth, but the ground is wet and I don't want to sit on it, so let's get to it. The shelter is set up. Just kind of seeing a few spots in here where heat's going to be escaping. Lots of cracks that I need to fix up, but it's big enough for me right now. I'm leaning against this tree. Probably won't sleep much, but I got a nice little bed of pine needles, whatever. Sorry, I don't remember what the tree's called right now. So now priority number 2 is firewood. I need to find a lot of firewood, keep it close to the fire, so it gets a little bit hot, but not so close that it, you know, catches fire. Well, rather than using a bunch of zip ties, I'm going to do what I call plastic welding. So I'm going to just kind of heat this plastic up. The 2 pieces connecting will kind of melt together. That should be a lot more effective than just doing a zip tie every few feet. And it seems to work pretty well. Nice. My idea. Bye. Okay, well, everything around here is pretty much frozen, at least on the outside from the snow. So what I've done is I've taken this tree, which is going to be a pretty good fire tree once it gets a little warm. And what I've done is I've taken the hatchet to it and exposed as much as I can the inside of the tree, which is going to be more dry, and it's going to give the fire more places to catch fire. So this should work out pretty well. I like to, instead of cutting up lots of small logs, I like to get a few big logs, crisscross them on the fire, and as they burn in the middle, and I now have 4 logs instead of 2 big ones, and I just keep doing that. It's just an easy way to get your fire going without having to chop everything. Well, I talked earlier this week about my attitude, and I think I'm a realistic pessimist in life. I don't like false hope, because when false hope is dashed, it just makes me more pessimistic. So I think I'm a realistic pessimist, but my dad says I'm just a real pessimist. But I've been trying to have a good attitude all week. Tried to have a good attitude the whole way here, because I know if I let myself get a bad attitude, I'll just want to give up. So I kept a good attitude today so far, and I know it's still early, but it's definitely hotter in here than it is outside. I can tell because, I don't know if you can see it, but my pants are steaming, so the water on my knees is drying off in here, and that's awesome. I have my meat thermometer. I don't know if you can see that. It was 30 degrees outside, and so far it's 39 in here. The fire's not very big. I'm going to get it going bigger, but every piece of wood out here is covered in snow, so just finding ones that are less covered in snow than others is my goal right now. So, see you later. Well, along with the, what was it, 6? Yeah, 6 ounces of moose I brought. I also brought 8 pieces of hardtack. So this is a Civil War ration type thing. That's basically 2 parts flour, 1 part water, and a little bit of salt added, and you just bake it at a real high temperature for about an hour. And the result is something that's about as hard as a freaking brick. You will break your jaw if you try to eat it like it is. So the benefit of this is, honestly, it tastes like a a charcuterie cracker wearing armor. So it actually doesn't taste too bad, but you can't chew it. So a few options you could do would be putting it in water or hot coffee for about 10 minutes to loosen it up a little bit. And benefit of that was getting the weevils out of it. They'd float to the surface so you could pick your bugs out of your hardtack before eating it. But these should keep for, I don't know, at least a year. All I'm going to do tonight is just put them in some hot water and eat them with my mousse. But it was a really easy thing to make. It took me about 15 minutes and then an hour of baking time. But yeah, they're extremely hard. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Well, don't tell anybody, but I did cheat a little bit when I came up here. I brought a rock from my house. I actually put it through the dishwasher too, just in case. So I was hoping when I came up here first, or last week at least, that I'd find a few rocks that are flat like this that I could just put in the fire, heat them up, and then put them in my tent. But I started to get a little concerned that the rocks are going to be wet around here, and rightfully so. They're either all covered with snow, or they're over by a little creek there that has some still water in it, which I'm not going to drink. 27 minutes to boil still water, or put some snow in my jacket. I'm going to go with snow. But when rocks get water trapped in them and you try to heat them up, they can explode. That's like paleo shrapnel, but you don't want it on your face or your anything. So I brought this from home. I pulled it out of the yard 3 days ago, so it's nice and dry. I'm going to put it in the fire, and hopefully I can heat my little pot with it, because it's flat and I need a flat surface. So nothing else, it's just going to be a little extra heat in the tent. Bye. Alright, well, I want to test out my flintlock and these new cartridge boxes I have that are supposed to speed up reloading a little bit, meaning hopefully it doesn't take me more than a minute. Remember, I'm not a pro. I'm pretty new to these too, even though I love studying them. I'm not great, so let's do it. And keep in mind I'm left-handed, so everything's going to look a little backwards, but it's right for me. I skipped part of it because I messed up real bad. Pretend I didn't. When in Rome. Good stuff. All right, check this out. This is right out of one of the biographies I read on Jim Bridger. So I cut part of my mousse up into tiny little pieces, suspending it over the fire, just using a little bit of leverage held in these old tree branches. So this smoke is going to help disinfect, or not disinfect, but get rid of bacteria in the meat. Slowly cook it so it'll be kind of a mixture between steak and jerky, but I don't care. It's going to be the best thing I've eaten all day. It's crazy the things you miss out here, like being able to sit down on something. I gotta find a place with a stump next time, but you know, everything else is good. The meat looks good. It's turning a different color at least. At least the work is minimal, but now's the moment of truth for the water. So I'm gonna use this. Hold on one second. I don't have a tripod anymore. So this expands into this. So you're supposed to have a little butane flame on the bottom. It specifically says don't do what I'm about to do, but that's okay. I didn't want to bring a butane thing. That's not authentic. Except for my Nicorette, that's authentic. So I'm gonna use that rock in the fire, and hopefully it's hot enough to where it's gonna cook some water. I'm gonna make some Civil War style coffee if it works, and have it with a piece of hardtack and that delicious mousse. Bye. All right, well that rock is super hot, so if this doesn't work, I'll be having ice brewed coffee. Either way, I'll be drinking the ground, so it doesn't really matter. But I hope this works, because something hot would be nice. See you soon. You're the best around. Look, steaming, baby. Cooked on a rock. Sea to Summit, if you're watching this, sponsor my ass. Time for coffee. Bye. All right, check this out. So you see this little jar here? I made this. I just call it Civil War coffee. It's what they gave Union soldiers because Union had cash. It's coffee grounds mixed with condensed milk. That's actually right about the time where condensed milk was invented. Like most things with the military, to save money. So once they figured out how to make instant coffee with condensed milk, they cut their, I believe they cut their coffee wagon loads in half. So good way to save some money, save on your wagon load so you don't blow it. But I'm just going to mix this with some hot water. You will have to drink the grounds, but it's a cool thing to take camping or whatnot because that's all you need to take. You don't need to take any cream or sugar or anything. It's all mixed together. And I've had this for 8 months. And it still is good. I had it yesterday morning and I'm not dead, so let's have some more. Adios. That's dinner. Delicious. Well, this is that annoying time of day in winter where everything's cold, but I mean everything is drip drop dripping off the trees, so it's kind of just that annoying like, stop, you fucking piece of shit, or whatever. So I guess while I'm just sitting in here waiting for the hardtack to become edible and the meat to kind of cool down a little bit, it's actually pretty good. I got it from Jess, the firefighting extraordinaire woman. I've never tried moose before, so I thought this would be a perfect time to do it. But good time to clean my flintlock. That thing's always getting dirty like a baby. It's my baby. Named it Molly after my first real dog. I had dogs before, but Molly was like the first that I remember, and I wish I would have treated her better. Crap, you know, just back when I thought spanking dogs was okay and all that. Just really good for the new dogs. Don't spank your dogs, please. It sucks. Don't do it. So yeah, I'm gonna clean the flintlock. The benefit of this tint that I wasn't thinking about in the beginning is the fact that all the sides are slanted. So as opposed to the first one I was going to make against the rock wall, the rain is just, or the melting snow is just dripping off. I do hope that it doesn't actually rain tonight. It's supposed to be freezing rain and snow, 8 to 12 inches. That's a lot. So if that happens, let's hope that doesn't happen. Stay positive. Bye! Well, this is my first time using the 1873 revolver. Got it about 3 weeks ago, specifically for this trip, just to kind of add a little living history to the deal. Takes a 45 long Colt round, 2 empty chambers just in case something goes wrong, but let's try a couple. Actually, let's try 4. Shaba. Well, it's about 4:30 in ye old shelter. Probably stay in here for the rest of the night. There's nothing to do. You can't see titties, so I'm so scared. Anyway, so I'm gonna clean my flintlock. I was looking for that knife. I didn't find it. Not gonna dwell on it. It's gone. So got a little more moose cooking. Got my wool sweater on. I think I look like British Special Forces or something. It's wool. Wool retains about 80 to 90% of its heat, even if it's soaking wet. So I think that's pretty cool with all the, you know, advances in technology we made with clothing and whatnot. Still can't beat good old-fashioned wool. So I always kind of just like stuff like that. So I might check in one more time before I sleep. Actually, I won't be sleeping at all. I'll probably check in throughout the night. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys later. I guess before I pass out, I wanted to talk a little bit about my parents, and just the things they've done that I think have kind of, I don't know, stuck out in my mind, or I think have influenced me a lot. So I always talk about my dad when I do these things, mostly because that's who I would want to be in any of these situations. When we were growing up, he worked all the time. He had to. We needed the money, and the jobs didn't always pay well, and there was 4 of us all a year apart, in a small town in Idaho, so he was just always working. So he was just kind of like this mythical creature. You know, he didn't hit us or ignore us or anything like that, but he was just always working. So whenever we got to go out to the woods with him to hunt, or like haul out a deer on a radio flyer wagon or something, it was just like awe-inspiring. He never complained, always worked hard. I don't know, I've just never met anybody that works as hard as he does, or likes it. You know, if there's a problem, I think when he sees a problem, like with a car, or there's like something wrong with paint on the house, it's like an insult to his intelligence. Like when someone writes a stupid comment on a thing of mine that's completely irrelevant. You know who you are. Yeah, he's just always working hard, still works hard. Everybody's got a dad like that, so I'm not trying to take it away from anybody else's dad, but he's the hardest working guy I know, for sure. And I don't want this kind of stuff to end with him, so I'm trying to at least carry on the tradition, or kind of make my own in case I ever have children. And my mom, I don't know, I've just never met anybody like my mom. Makes me emotional. And the story that I would say best defines my mom is when we were in that town and we didn't have food in the winter, and there was a food drive at the church, and my mom gave, you know, like a box of macaroni or something, whatever we had. And the pastor was like, this food drive is for your family. So I think that sums up my parents pretty well. I hope to be like that someday. See you later. It's close to 3 a.m. and the shelter's good, but it's 40 in there, holding steady. I think I'm going to try to get out of here now. It's fun while it lasted. I don't want to get stuck on that pass and be stuck here for another day. So the shelter was a success. I'll do a little update on the road once I get a little car light. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Sorry team, I just weighed the risk and benefit and staying. I wanted to stay until 5 a.m. but I don't want to get stuck on this side of the pass for another day. If I could make it home at 3 hours earlier, so we'll see how it goes. But thanks everybody for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope you laughed at least once. Hope I made you roll your eyes a couple times. I'd like to do this again when it's not snowing, maybe in the spring. In the meantime, I'll keep honing my skills. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.